I was blown away by Speedtree's potential when I first found it, but I've had the hardest time finding good tutorials on how to create game-focused assets. And almost all of them get to the leaf cards and say, then select your leaf texture. And I'm here like, I don't have a leaf texture, that's why I'm here. So I wanted to put together this quick and dirty tutorial showing how you can build a basic, acceptable quality version of this boxwood in my backyard with very little skill and no special equipment. We're going to start by taking actual clippings from a real plant. Since these things need seriously trimmed anyway, we're not hurting anything. Now in a perfect world, I would pull out my DSLR camera, a piece of felt, do it on a cloudy day, all that. But part of the point of this video is to show that you can get the job done with what you have right now. So we're placing the clippings on a piece of plywood from my garage, shooting photos with my aging S22 phone, and doing it with the sun blazing overhead, casting hard shadows. We'll fix it in post, right? The first thing we need to do is to create masks that can be used by Speedtree. So within Photoshop, I'm opening up one of these photos that we just took. Now we're going to select subject. And the idea here is we're trying to select just the plant material itself. Or actually what we're going to do, now that we have the plant selected, is we're going to go to select inverse to select everything that isn't the plant. We also at this point want to go ahead and expand the selection a little, and that helps prevent us from getting a little bit of the background in that final selection. And then we're going to feather it by just a little bit to give it not so hard of an edge. So that will look a little better once we get it in Speedtree. Now, when we fill with black on this new layer, we've now created this sort of matting for our actual plant material here. And I'm going to create a second layer, put it under that black matting layer, and just fill it in with white. And now you may recognize this. This is essentially going to be our alpha mask. Before we save that, let's do one more thing. Let's create a new layer, and then we're going to go ahead and do this selection again. And what we're trying to do here is create, take a little more of a green coloring and apply that to all the unused portions of the image. I don't know how necessary this really is, but I've read that it can help protect us against some of the, matting issues where we get like black fringing on the final Speedtree leaf cards. But anyway, now that we have everything generated that we need, we're going to go ahead and save this copy out as a PNG file. And this is going to be our opaque or color mask. So we'll go ahead and give this some kind of name that makes sense so we can remember that for later in Speedtree. And we're going to do the same thing with these next two layers, which are going to be the alpha mask. And basically what the alpha mask is going to do is all of the black areas, we're telling Speedtree, hey, this is invisible, there's no useful data here, just pretend this isn't here. And this is how we turn square leaf cards into things that actually look like leaves. Now this next step is purely optional, but if you want to give your leaf cards a little more pop, might as well go ahead and do this because it only takes a few seconds. So there's a program called Materialize, which is going to help us create all of the extra masks we need. To do this, we just open up the color information we have as a diffuse map, and then we work through clicking on Create under each of the other maps to create all the other masks that will help Speedtree kind of make this leaf a little more realistic. Now, when we're walking through these, we do want to change a few of the settings. Most importantly, we want the metallic mask to be a little darker because we don't want our leaves to look like a piece of metal like they sort of are here in the preview, but it really doesn't look that bad once we get to the actual Speedtree representation of them. And this is the first leaf card that I did here, and you can see this took literally a minute or less. But we'll go ahead and clear it out and do it again with the second leaf card. Now we'll go to the diffuse map, open up our leaf number 2 and get our color information here. This gives it the base color to work with. We'll create the height map based on that, and we can usually use the default settings. Just make sure the leaves themselves are brighter than the surrounding. With a lot of these other maps, again, we can do the same. Like I said, we're being a little careful on that metallic mask to make sure that that's not too bright. And then when we're done, we select PNG as a file format, and go ahead and save this out, and then we're ready for Speedtree. And now we're on to Speedtree itself. So we're going to start out with a blank canvas here, and just go ahead and add a trunk. Obviously these boxwoods are not 25 feet tall, so let's shrink this guy down a bit. I think 3 foot is good to start with for the main trunk anyway. We need to go to skin and kind of shrink that guy down to be a little more realistic radius. And then we're going to go ahead and add our first set of branches. There aren't too many here, as you can see, but let's go ahead and bump that up a bit. And as we go through this, you're going to notice that a lot of this you just got to do by feel. I'm no artist, but just walking through these different sections and moving these sliders up and down and just seeing how it looks is really the way I end up with most of these numbers. Now the second set of branches is not going to be what the leaves are attached to, but we're going to create another set on top of these. So these are just acting as a sort of skeleton. So we want these kind of pointing straight upwards, because these boxwoods are very tall plants with both the leaves and branches just coming off of the trunk and pointing upwards. And there's a lot of different ways we can do this, but for these branches we're going to go with a start angle that points them mostly into the sky from the beginning. We're going to straighten them up a little bit and then take away gravity's effect a little bit. That's just going to give them a very sort of tall kind of feel. So I think that looks like a pretty good skeleton to start. The only problem I'm seeing is we don't have enough coverage down low on the tree, and that's going to be a problem later once we start adding these leaves in. So let's go ahead and pull the first boundary down a little bit. That just tells Speedtree where the first branch is going to start at. So we now have our basic skeleton, and now we're going to start creating the branches where the leaf cards are actually going to be generated on. At this point, we're going to play with some of the values on both branch sets. As you can see, I had to increase the number on the first branch set just to get us a little more coverage for branch set number 2. Now again, we're kind of moving these down, and yeah, I know they look like a mess right now, but we're going to get to that. It's going to look good in the end, I promise. Let's go ahead and fix that now. Now these ones, we can go with similar settings to the first set of branches and go with a low start angle and just not do much with gravity. But what I realized was, we need these leaf cards to flex out a little bit to get away from the trunk. So instead, I'm going to start with a little more of a start angle here and just have gravity take care of pointing the branches upward, which is sort of what I meant earlier when I was saying that, there's 100 different ways to do the same thing. We want to make sure we get enough leaf cards and enough coverage on these cards, so we'll go ahead and bump those number of branches up. I know the poly count looks out of control right now, but don't worry about that. We'll take care of that later. Now we're going to go ahead and throw the leaf cards on now. We want a whole bunch of them, so let's go with 20 just to start. We'll mess with that first boundary again just to make sure we have coverage down nice and low. And now we're looking pretty good from the perspective of just our tree skeleton here. Let's go ahead and get this saved, because when I don't save, that's when something happens to my computer and we lose everything. So now we're going to jump into materials. Here is all that stuff that we just spent all that time in Photoshop and going outside and sweating getting done. So first I pulled in my bark material. You pull in the color first, and then you can grab each of the other masks if you have them. So the bark material was something I created another time, not as part of this video, but same sort of method of doing so as I did with the leaf cards. Went out, took a picture of a tree, and that was that. Now we're going to go ahead and select these two branch groups and just hide them. And once we do, the leaf cards are going to completely cover them anyway, and now you can see our poly count is much more reasonable. So now it's time to start bringing in those leaf cards. So we're going to bring in the color, and the only other one that's really necessary is the alpha mask, which is going to go into opacity. But since we have these other ones that we created and materialized, well, why not go ahead and use them? Give the final product a little extra pop. And we don't have the second leaf card created yet, but let's go ahead and drag this over here just to kind of see how it looks. And before we start messing with that, we'll go ahead and pull in the second leaf card. Same process that we did on the first. We're selecting each of our masks in turn. Again, nothing beyond color and opacity is really needed, but we got the other ones to give us a little more pop. And by having two different leaf cards, what we can do is have half of the cards show one of these sets of masks and half of the cards show a different set. It just gives the final bush a little more variation. Now make sure you check this two-sided checkbox here. I forget that all the time, and I can't figure out why my tree looks half naked. So make sure both the leaf cards are set to two-sided. And then you can come in here under orientation, and there's a number of different adjustments you can make here that change the way these cards are directed and shaped. So we're getting them pointed up a little more because that's what a boxwood really looks like. And under material, we can set our second card, and we could even set weights for the two different cards there if we wanted to. But quick and dirty, we're just going to leave it how it is. And you know, quite honestly, I think we have a pretty nice looking boxwood already. But there's a few more tweaks we're going to make to try to make this a little bit better. There's some deformation sliders here that you can mess around with. These are going to deform the leaf cards a little bit to give it a little more realism, make them not look quite so flat. Now you're not seeing too much yet because we haven't actually told Speedtree, well, how to deform them, or even, you know, which direction is up on these cards. So we're going to take care of that in just a second here. But again, we're looking really good. Now let's go ahead, pick one of the leaf cards, go to the cutouts meshes, and hit edit. I'm no expert on how this mode works, but the bare basics are that orange line is showing Speedtree where the center of your mesh is, so we're going to put that right down sort of the center of the card there. And the rest of these and these lines that we're creating here are going to kind of help Speedtree understand how many different triangles to use for each of these cards and where exactly the card should be flexed when we do those deformations. Now, if you were really trying to do, you know, a perfect job on this, then whenever you do this, you're going to set up different settings for that high, medium, and low box on the right side. Obviously, you want to allow more polys on high and less on low. We're not worrying too much about that right now. But for this leaf card, pretty much the same thing. This time I had to sort of tilt things a little bit because you know, the second one is a very bent branch. So we tilted things, got it straightened so it's mostly facing upward, and we're just going to do the same thing here. We're going to try to pull these to sort of box in the entire leaf image. And then we'll just go ahead and add one little extra node in the center here to allow Speedtree to do a little more deformation on this leaf card. And just like the last one, I'm not going to take the time to come up with different high, medium, and low settings. I'll just go ahead and go with this for all of them. And it's a little hard to see, but you can see that as we move around here that the cards are sort of deformed along those axes that we set. They're more directed now and pointed in the direction that we want them to point and aligned a little better. And you can see as we modify this vertex number here, we flex the cards and make it a little more organic, a little more realistic looking. So now we're looking pretty good. It's at this point that you want to go back and just start playing with all of your settings. Grab some sliders, move them around, see what they do. That is the only way I managed to learn how a lot of this stuff works, is just by trial and error, because just trying to memorize what every setting does, there's so many, it's too much. Now let's go ahead and go into the wind wizard. Tag this as a bush and go ahead and get wind set up. And quite frankly, I think the defaults look pretty good. But we're going to go ahead and tweak things anyway, because why not? First off, we're pulling this into a game, so we're going to select games. And every time I do that, for some reason, Speedtree sets the speed way too high. So let's change that ripple speed, set it down a little more realistic. Now, boxwood really doesn't have that much rippling to the leaves themselves, so we're gonna tune these values down just a little bit. If you like the movement a little more on yours, go ahead and leave them up. And I find that these planar and directional sliders are very useful to put one high, one low, see how it looks, because different trees are going to look, or leaves are going to look better or worse with different types of motion. The branch motion, that's going to affect how the tree itself is moving and blowing in the wind, the branches and the trunk. So you can play around with those a little bit and see what looks good to you. But we're going to leave those there for now and play a little bit with this variation slider. You can see as I select each card and move the slider way up, it's just highlighting the leaves, it's tinting them in a different color. Looks very bad if you use more than a little, but with just a little, you get a little more of that variation that again just makes it look more real. It helps it look like we're not using the same one or two cards over and over and over again, which of course we are. And here we are pretty much with our final product, and we're looking at about 13,000 tries in our poly count, which is a little high for a bush, but I'm pretty happy with it. And we did all that in less than an hour of work. There are a lot of ways we could have done this better, from better photography to different cutout definitions by LOD level, but the point of this video was just to bridge that gap for those who, like me, got into Speedtree, quickly went through the example leaf cards, and couldn't find a bit on Google about where to download more. Hope it was helpful.